Hello, hello, hello. This is the Above Board podcast from Fathom Analytics. I am, as always, Paul Jarvis, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-founder, Jack Ellis. Good morning, sir.
What's good in the hood?
It's earlier than usual.
Yeah, it is actually. I forget. Yeah, 2 hours behind. It's 7 a.m. for you. That's rough.
Fucking Canadian Thanksgiving, dude. Like, I need to go return something to an actual store. I went there yesterday because it said their holiday hours were 12 till 5. Get there at like 5 after 12. Store's closed. A bunch of other people like wanting to go to the store too. Mm-hmm. And so we got to go back today all the way downtown, which downtown for me is like an hour away.
I think downtown for everyone is always a grind unless you live downtown. I live downtown Vancouver, like literally in the very center of downtown Vancouver for, I don't know, 10 years or so. Yep.
I remember driving like 2 or 3 times a year because I just like, why would you drive in Vancouver if you don't have to?
You are downtown already.
Yeah.
I wonder if that song Downtown is royalty free. You know, the downtown.
Yeah, I doubt it is. No, don't sing it. Okay. Copyright.
Yes, this is true. WordPress will find a way to sue us.
Exactly. There's some breach of open source singing.
You used the word word. All right, so where are we going today?
I guess I want to talk about why Google search is no longer an actual search engine.
Yeah. It's a mess.
So it's funny too, because my wife is like the least technical person in the entire world. And like, she just doesn't understand. Like, she tries to search in Google. She tried DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo is garbage as well. But then she's like, I'm just going to switch back to Google because I remember Google being good like years ago. And she tries to find stuff in Google. Can't find anything. So I'm like, maybe you're doing it wrong. So I try to find some stuff in Google because I don't use Google. I think I use Brave now. That seems to be the best.
And DuckDuckGo, my understanding is they use Bing and they put adverts. Or how does it work? Doesn't DuckDuckGo just use Bing?
Maybe. And Bing is kind of garbage for similar reasons too. So I just find that the results have been getting worse and worse for everybody that I talk to about this. Has kind of the same feeling that it's just like, I don't know how to find stuff in fucking search anymore.
Yeah, you can't. So that's interesting. And it depends. So if you're searching for technical stuff, which a lot of people don't do anymore, they'll go to AI. I have a love-hate relationship with AI. I think Perplexity AI does good, but you can't ask ChatGPT for technical questions when you're doing anything above the basics of a certain topic. You know, like the ChatGPT becoming the search engine for the work that I'm doing. And I've made a big thing on this. And like, there's kind of a bit of gatekeeping language, because my position, honestly, if you're doing anything complex, AI can't help you. And that sounds kind of arrogant or not. I don't know. Like I say, gatekeeper is kind of the word there, because I'm like, oh, you must not be doing anything complex. And it's tricky because I sort of am saying that. I don't like, and that's another thing. The reason people say to me, oh, but AI was not, no one's saying AI can do that. And the problem is that people are saying it's going to be replacing developers. It already is replacing developers. The only developers it's replacing is people that are writing basic stuff.
So I can't write an entire app in AI yet. That's what you're saying.
Oh, it's not even close. You know, I loaded our entire analytics. Let's call it analytics engine. So I gave it full context. This was in Claude AI. Because everyone's telling me, oh, Claude is better than ChatGPT. I load the full context, like all of our analytics files, schema, everything. Because it's not sensitive information. It's like whatever. I load it all in and I'm like, oh, they've got all the context. They can see the class references. They can see this. And it builds me something which then completely breaks everything. And what it had done is it tried to clone a instance of a class, but it completely missed the fact that it was also injecting objects into this class. And when you do a clone in PHP, it doesn't do deep cloning. It's a shallow clone. So then you end up with a cloned object with a reference to the old objects. And this is just basic stuff that you would not miss if you were doing this yourself. Or maybe you, like to me, cloning an object, I know that if I've got objects in the class or in the object, I know that there's going to be a reference done to it. And AI completely misses that. And I'm going, what do you mean AI is replacing developers? Maybe for the people that are just writing CRUD, sorry, when I say CRUD, I mean create, read, update, and delete apps, basic stuff. So I kind of I am a bit smug, I suppose, on it, but I'm just not convinced.
Yeah, I mean, even for the stuff that I do with AI for code, which is a lot less, it's just like generating ways to create events in Fathom. Like,
sure,
if I'm doing support, it does it wrong half the time. And then I tell it like, hey, this didn't work, or this gave me an error in my console. And they're like, oh, actually, yeah, it did.
Oh, I hate that so much.
If you knew it was going to do that, why did you give me the wrong information? And I have friends who've asked it to do like math.
Yeah.
And it's done math wrong, like simple math, not like multivariable calculus math, like just simple math.
Yeah. The other day I was looking into some infrastructure level stuff, right? And the start point was a feature of CloudFront. And the actual piece was trying to figure something out. And the thing I was trying to solve was a certain, I forget the specifics, but effectively, I wanted to know, it's funny, I didn't want to know this. It threw me on this pathway because it suggested it. I was doing something along the lines of CDN and at what point does, can I do something? And it comes back to me and it says, oh, CloudFront is actually, CloudFront Edge Workers, which is what we use for our marketing site. Edge Workers, CloudFront Functions, sorry. Like, yeah, that's hit before the web application firewall. So you can totally run a function before it hits your firewall. And I'm like, what? How does that make any sense? The firewall's supposed to protect it. But they're like, no. And they're like, yeah, Amazon documented this. So I go down and I do a bunch of testing. I'm going, this is amazing. I can't believe this is possible. If you just do this that it's told me to do. I do all these things. It's not working. I'm going, it's not working. It keeps telling me to try this. Okay. So this is where I'm at. And of course, it's just me that's prompting it wrong, not the fact that AI is leading me down this rabbit hole that, intellectually I know is the wrong rabbit hole, but I want to believe it. And I get to the point and I'm going, it's not working. I go, are you absolutely sure that CloudFront Functions comes before WAF? And they go, oh, there seems to be a misunderstanding. I go, fuck you. And it's not even it's a computer I'm getting mad at. And then someone goes, oh, you're prompting it wrong. No, I didn't prompt it wrong. It gives me this completely falsified solution and then sends me down this wishful thinking rabbit hole. So no, dude, let's get back to the search engine topic. I'm done with AI for code. It's not for me. I will use it for some basic stuff. And when my expectations are set, okay, this can do basic things. It can transform text. It can new language I don't understand. It can help me modify code, add code. But for most of the stuff I'm doing, it's not going to help me in any way and it's going to lead to wasted time. So I'm back using search engines and I'll hit Stack Overflow because then at least I can understand the concepts and I can upgrade my brain. I don't want to atrophy my brain. Like, AI can help you do this. Okay, well, you're just going to get worse and worse at writing code. My brain, or everyone's brain, has this effectively, I'm not going to say infinite capacity because it's wrong, but it has huge capacity for knowledge and information and connecting dots and everything else. I'd much rather read a concept on Stack Overflow, understand their problem, understand the solution, and then boom, that's now in my brain. It's not something I've just relied on AI for.
Yeah, and I mean, so that brings us back to why Google search engine sucks. One of the reasons is that it relies on AI. They incorporated LLMs into results. So this is actually bad for several reasons. So a lot of times, like we just talked about, AI text is just straight up wrong, but it's confident in its wrongness.
Yeah, it is.
And it's Google's AI. So remember how Google AI had you asked it to generate an image of Nazis and it showed you black Nazis, or you asked it to generate an image of the founding fathers of America and there's a bunch of women. This is historical facts that are just completely incorrect.
This is so funny.
And then, so that's the first problem, is that AI is just wrong all the time.
Yeah.
Fight me on this. I don't care. But the second problem is that the point of a search engine, or the point that Google said its search engine was, and that all search engines are supposed to be, is that you find information on the internet, right? So if Google is going to replace search results with AI, then it's not going to show other sites. It's not going to show sites where that person, that human, has like shown the work.
Yeah.
Right. Or like shown why the answer is the answer. It's just a little blurb at the top, like, oh, you were looking for this. This is what we think that means. And so it seems like Google is trying to replace showing external sites other than ads. Like they want to show ads and they want to show like AI generated text.
They're competing with Perplexity. They know that people want, and this is actually a theme, by the way. People outsource their thinking. And now I've obviously been in, I don't want to say I've been in the health space, but I've been around a lot of health stuff and I'm seeing it. People just completely delegate their thinking to others. They put trust in those people, but they don't actually want to understand it themselves. Granted, having time to look into it and everything else is a privilege, right? I mean, it absolutely is. But they don't want to actually understand it. And I think that shift, you can argue, oh, it makes me move faster. Maybe you're moving faster with the basic things, but
I wouldn't want to move fast in the wrong direction.
Yeah. And I think that this move away from just actually looking to understand towards, oh, I just want to get it done. I don't think that that's right.
Oh, trust me, I'm the science dude.
Yeah. Well, that's another example. And this is a beauty too. So actually in my circle now, I'm speaking to multiple different scientists and different backgrounds, really advanced backgrounds, and just hearing their perspectives on different things is fascinating, and hearing why they believe it. And then what I'm finding talking to people is that each scientist will have kind of gaps in their knowledge, to the point where I know more about a certain topic relevant to the science from another scientist or from another clinician that they don't even know the basics about. And this exists in business, by the way. Like I talked to Ruben Garmes and I realized how little I know about business. It's normal for people to not have, but still you want to try and understand it and what have you. If it's my job to be a programmer, I want to understand it. This is where like the SEO and the Google and the AI, I do have a lot of passion about, which I didn't realize until we started. I kind of knew because I'm tweeting about it, but it really, really rolls me up.
Well, back to search engine stuff. But since you bring up SEO, that's another point that I have about why Google search engine is shit. And it's that SEO has ruined it. But not that SEO has ruined it. It's that Google kind of made their search engine reward shitty content, right? So like if I want to find, so recipes are the best example of this. I want to look up, like if I want to look up like how to scramble an egg, the first thing will be a recipe on scrambling, which is stupid. There's a recipe for scrambling eggs, but you click it and there's like 200 paragraphs about
a life story.
My nan used to scramble eggs for me and blah, blah, blah. And this kind of, and it's just like, dude, just tell me how long to cook the eggs for.
It drives me insane. And to actually get the ingredients for a recipe, you've got to scroll down, or they'll talk about something and they'll actually list out partial instructions, and then you'll start following them, and then you realize that there's actually more to it that was in the actual recipe down below. I hate it. I honestly have given up with online recipes for the most part.
Yep. But so that, and that's kind of enigmatic of the entire thing, where you look for something, if you actually see results, it's these SEO-ified bits of content that isn't really, it's not for us. It's not for humans. It's for fucking search engines, and it's garbage, and it makes it worse. And so I guess one of the main points is, and I kind of glossed over this in the beginning, because I've been kind of, as you're bringing stuff up, I'm remembering other points about why Google search sucks. So I guess the main reason is that, have you noticed that it's almost entirely ads now? Like it used to be, you want to get to the top of the search results. The top of the search results, you have to scroll below the fold to see.
Yeah.
And so it's like 4 or 5 ads to start. I think they've grown by like 30 or 40% since 2021 as well. Like the size of the ads. And they used to be highlight. I don't know if you remember this. This is from years ago. You might not have been born. But Google used to highlight ads in bright yellow.
I remember this. Yes, I was alive.
It was yellow. And you're like, okay, I don't even need to read any words. The yellow highlights are ads. Everything else is not. Now it just says a little word like sponsored.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, this is getting worse and worse. I mean, they need to make money. I understand that. I mean, they're an advertising company, right?
Yeah.
But it does. It completely ruins the experience. The search engine. I mean, the search engine, never necessarily was trustworthy. Mm-hmm. But, there was you did hope that the right stuff got surfaced. I mean, I'll be honest with you, my main lens is Stack Overflow. So where I'm leaning nowadays, I'm leaning more towards source materials. I tweeted this the other day. Sorry, X'd it the other day. Aaron Francis a while back was talking about how much he likes to read the manual of things. Like he's going down, say he wants to learn more about Postgres, he will literally read the entire manual from start to finish. And it sounds insane, but this is the source material. Yeah. Right? Like, how is there going to be a better way? You can go into Stack Overflow and learn stuff and learn how people use it. Absolutely. But you go to the manual. And I remember I found the same with SingleStore. I've read their documentation start to finish multiple times. And what will happen is each time I will find new stuff or have new perspectives on it. And same with health stuff. You can actually go deeper into some of the literature, for example. So if I want to Google, if I was to Google about fish oil right now, for example, I guarantee they'd be like, oh, you don't want to have more than whatever a day. But you go into the literature and you'll find something where higher amount supported something. Another example is CLL. We talked about this. CLL with the chronic lymphatic leukemia. I forget the specific thing. You're like, oh, Glenn Sabin, I worked with this guy in the past. You should read his book. I read it and there's a paper behind it. This guy reverses something that is irreversible. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, he was given a couple months to live like 20 years ago.
Yeah, so that story is interesting. But with loads of other things, and I just go a bit deeper. And I mean, the same thing, like, I don't want to get too into health on this episode, but things like cholesterol. You eat a bunch of bacon, you're going to get high cholesterol. This guy goes and eats, this is Nick Norwitz, he goes and eats like 2,000 strips of bacon and he lowers his cholesterol. And sorry, he's the guy that, I don't know if it was 2,000, but it was a lot. This is the guy that compared Oreos to statins. Oreos reign supreme. But this is what I mean, like doing your own work and doing your own research, whether that be reading books or taking in more sources. You joked about, quote unquote, the science. That has become a meme at this point. And for me, it's not political. I know it can be political with The View and left wing want this, right. I mean, honestly, I view that politicians are all in bed together with that stuff. So to me, it's just, for me, it's just a meme. And it's like, no, I have a duty to my family with regards to health to do my own research, and it's no good saying, oh, but I haven't got a degree in this, or, you're not a doctor. It's like, okay, but you can't think for yourself. Like, how do you think doctors became doctors? You talk to a scientist and we start talking about a concept and show me the papers or, whatever else. But then it's funny with the papers, you got to make sure that there was just something that came out from NIH funding, billions of dollars. I forget the name of the person, but they've just found out that he's been modifying a bunch of his research.
Oh, the Alzheimer's guy?
I forget who it was, but so even then you've got to be careful. But then that's the thing in science. You never use just one paper to support an idea. You want to have a diversity of sources.
Yeah.
So anywho, I'm just more and more, we're talking about search engines and how they're getting worse and worse. I am really doubling down on going to the source.
Yeah.
Because I can Google something and I'll get results that I know from, I'm not an expert on like loads of things, but there are certain topics that I am pretty good with. I'm pretty good with light environment. And I won't find on Google some of the stuff that I know to be true from updated literature, for example. And they will rank centralized medical sites above, perhaps there's physicians or scientists that are doing research that has come out maybe a few months ago. That's not going to be first on Google. You really have to dive in. It's going to be like
WebMD and Livestrong and those garbage sites, which are just SEO buckets. Basically.
WebMD, you can at least get access. That's the NIH run one. At least you can get access to all of the papers from all of the journals. I think even when it's not, I'm pretty sure WebMD, you can get access to stuff. I don't know about the rankings. But you have also, Paul, you have to know what you're looking for. Like you have to add in the keywords, else they'll be like, oh, here you go. Like this is this is surfaced for whatever reason. But so yeah, I notice it on health. But honestly, with programming, I do still think it's good. Because they do default to things like Stack Overflow, which is good because it's real people with real problems. Seeing a problem and seeing the different ideas on how to solve it and the whys and the debates around the limitations. And that is really, really good. And that helps you learn. So, yeah, I'm pro learning on that. And Google's going down the drain.
Yeah. One of the things you mentioned brings up another point that I have about why Google search sucks. And I guess it's the thinking that I guess I didn't really think about this, but the type of results that are shown to you can affect your opinion on something. Like we were talking about health, so it could be like, oh, I hurt my knee. I'm going to look up like why my knee hurts, and those results that you see could affect how you go about trying to like fix the problem. Mm-hmm. And so there's a researcher called I think his name's Epstein, Dr. Robert Epstein, who's been studying Google. Like he is the guy watching big tech watching us, him and his team.
Yeah.
And so what he found is, and he because you know how if you search for something in Google and I search for something in Google, the results are possibly going to be different. If we're in different countries, they're definitely going to be different. But they can be different because Google knows so much about us because they're like a data mining for advertising company. Mm-hmm. They can affect, and he's proven this with like huge data sets, that Google can affect how people vote in democracy.
Well, of course. Yeah,
which
absolutely.
is completely fucked up.
Well, no, that's everywhere. No, but then that is true. But I mean, look at X. X is now, X used to be very left-leaning. And so I would see kind of quite radical left views appear on my timeline a lot. Now I'm seeing both radical left and radical right on my timeline.
Yeah.
And
just trying to rile you up to stay on the platform.
Yeah, well, honestly, exactly. And, you know, I think any platform, I think that now X is in the hands of Musk. I think Musk has actually endorsed Trump, I believe.
Yep.
So we're going to probably, I would imagine that he would use that power to surface it. I don't know this, by the way, but that would be my guess. And then Google's more left-leaning is my perspective. So I'd imagine that they would want to suppress anything that isn't in line with their beliefs. Right.
Yeah,
so
I mean, Elon was even tweeting about this when the first, it's so weird to say, the first assassination attempt.
Oh, that was
Trump.
another one, wasn't there? Yeah.
Yeah, because I think he looked it up in America, the assassination attempt, and it showed stuff for like Kamala Harris.
Right. Okay.
And like I looked it up and I found stuff about the Trump assassination because I'm in Canada and it doesn't fucking matter to me. Like I can't affect a vote in another country. So.
Oh. I love it when this is not becoming a political episode, but I love it when people in Canada get rolled up over US politics. You just ask them, so who are you going to vote for? We do this a lot. I mean, I understand Americans, arguing and debating. I really do, because that they can all vote and they can make a difference, and I get that. But like when the Canadians or the Brits argue and they get all uppity about it, it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Really
my
does.
God, my life will be over if somebody becomes president. It's like, I didn't even know you lived there because you don't.
Yeah. So, no, it's.
But yeah, so Google can shift opinions and voting preferences of undecided voters, apparently by up to 20% or more, which is a lot.
All platforms. I mean, that.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I take the point. I mean, all platforms can. Facebook admitted that they did.
Well, yeah, Zuckerberg wrote that apology letter.
Yes, that was it. Yeah, I'm away from a lot of the news. I've got a new thing on Twitter that completely filters everything. But I remember him writing the letter. I think that's very strategic. I think he's done that strategically because he worries that Trump might win and then be like, fuck you, Mark Zuckerberg. So he has to sort of balance it, and it's quite funny seeing that. But yeah, I mean, SEO can influence your thoughts on things. I mean, AI can do the same thing. You search for certain things, and AI is, when people search for like us, you can find information about our company and everything else. There is stuff in AI. Listen, AI is probably going to be the future of search. Perplexity can be pretty accurate. I am pretty impressed with Perplexity. I just think we have to be honest about the limitations, because the frustration I get is not objectively right. Because the frustration I get is from, I'd say, I don't want to call them idiots, but moron's just as bad. But as a group of people saying, AI, your job is at risk now, like, just being like grandiose and overhyping it, and then me going, oh wow, this thing must be really good, as I'm digesting this, and then being like, what the hell were they on about? And I'm annoyed because I had that belief, but it was my fault for believing it in the first place,
Yep.
But then it's false promises.
Back in the day, I had because people kept Googling Paul Jarvis net worth.
I remember this.
So I made a video of me like fanning out I think I just sold something on Craigslist or something. So I was standing in front of like a 1980s Escort car. I'll clarify there. With like a very old beater car, fanning out money.
I've seen this.
And I posted that. And that got into Google search results. And it's just like, that's not real. That's not like accurate.
I mean, all the net worth stuff is junk as well. Just I'm thinking about all the like celebrity stuff. Yeah, I mean, what's your prediction? I mean, let's get into predictions. You know, why is it still popular? It's popular because people are using it as what we've always used. What do we use instead, and what do you think the future is? And I think Perplexity AI is a big one. I think Google may still remain relevant, but we know the limitations. I'm honestly not sure. What do you think?
I mean, so far AI has proven untrustworthy in so many ways. So, I mean, do I think it's moving in that direction? Yeah, of course. I'm not blind to that. I don't think it's necessarily the best idea. I think, like you said, our ability to think for ourselves and reason is literally what science is. So when people say you got to trust the science, that's not actually how science works. Science isn't just listening to a mandate from upon high.
Yeah,
it's doing work, showing your work, arguing different ideas, and coming up with different hypotheses. Like, that's science, right? Like, it's messy. It's super messy, and that's how it works, and that's how it's always worked. I don't know. I think we're getting stupider. Honestly, like, I think we're going to end up like that fucking movie, Idiocracy.
Okay, people keep telling me to watch that. Is it?
It is pretty good. So I haven't watched it for ages and ages, but it's just like how everybody refers to The Matrix or like V for Vendetta all the time when we're talking about like authoritarian and stuff. Like there's just some movies that kind of encapsulate an idea that doesn't leave like meme status in our brains. So,
I mean, TikTok is like the kids on TikTok, just some of the stuff that is just so dumb. And I just think, I'm not against entertainment. I'm really not. But when that's your life and, you know, TikToking and Snapchat, I'm turning into an old man.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, exactly. But no, are we getting dumber? I think, you know, it's good. But then, generations could say this all the time. You know, the kids, think about the 60s when everyone was doing LSD and mushrooms. You know, like the kids were dumber. And then Steve Jobs came out of that. I think there's always going to be a segment of society that's moving us forward. But on average, I don't know. I don't think, I don't know, dude.
Yeah. I guess I trust Google results as much as I trust mainstream media.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's about right.
They might get it right sometimes, but that's not their objective. Like, Google's objective isn't to provide us with the truth. Google's objective is to make as much advertising dollars as possible from us looking stuff up. Because search, I think, what did they, Q2 of 2024, they made something like $85 billion in Q2 of this year.
Right.
And 75% of that came from ad revenue across all their properties, but 75% of that came from ad revenue just from Google search. So Google search is still their cash cow. Google search is still like their main thing that drives revenue for them. So they want people to use it, and they want to put as many ads as possible. And it doesn't matter what the truth is in search results, because they just want to make money.
Now you're talking, okay, so truth also being the adverts suppressing the quote unquote real results, and the adverts give you the impression that this is really good because it's ranked higher.
Yeah, if you look up like best office share, you're going to find the things that are spending the most money, not the things that have the highest reviews from humans.
That's good. The word truth, I'm still like on the politics stuff, but no, the concept of the truth and what is the best office chair is now diluted. And the way we can counter that is by understanding the incentives, right?
Yes.
Once we understand the incentives, we can understand why something is being done this way, and what have you. But that requires a bit of research or listening to the Above Board podcast where we talk about Q2 revenue.
Exactly. Trust us. We are the science.
Oh, man.
All right, dude. I think that was hopefully good. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the end. Unless you have anything else, I guess we can call it.
Okay.
All right. Cheers, everybody.